Today, we're bringing 12 Ohio legends back to life. The most haunting folklore in the state. Number 1, Loveland Frogman. Along the banks of the Little Miami River, something strange has been lurking for decades. The Loveland Frogman, a creature that defies explanation and has terrified witnesses since the 1950s. Standing 4 feet tall with leathery skin, webbed hands, and the face of a frog, this humanoid beast has become one of Ohio's most enduring mysteries. The first reported encounter happened in 1955, when a businessman claimed he saw 3 frog-like creatures under a bridge near Loveland. They stood upright like men, but had the features of giant amphibians. One even held a device that sparked and glowed. The man watched in horror as the creatures noticed him, then quickly disappeared into the dark waters below. But the legend truly took hold in 1972 when 2 separate police officers reported encounters with the beast. Both described the same thing, a large frog-like creature that moved with surprising speed and intelligence. One officer even claimed he shot at it, watching it leap over a guardrail and vanish into the river. Since then, sightings have continued. Witnesses describe glowing eyes that pierce through the darkness and a smell like rotting fish that lingers in the air. Some say it's a mutated animal from polluted waters. Others believe it's something far more ancient, a creature that has always called the Miami River home. Today, the Loveland Frogman remains one of Ohio's most famous cryptids. Whether you believe or not, something continues to stir the waters near Loveland, keeping this amphibious legend very much alive. Number 2, the melon heads. Deep in the woods around Kirtland and Chardon, an urban legend whispers of something disturbing. The melon heads, deformed humanoids with enlarged skulls who are said to roam the forests at night. Their origin stories vary, but all are equally chilling. Some say they were once normal children who escaped from an asylum, living wild in the woods until years of isolation changed them. Others claim they're the result of medical experiments gone wrong, or the offspring of a mad doctor who conducted horrific tests on unwilling patients. The most disturbing version tells of children who were abandoned in the forest and survived by adapting in ways that warped their very appearance. Those who claim to have seen them describe pale, thin figures with disproportionately large heads and wild, matted hair. They move in groups through the darkness, communicating in strange clicks and whispers. Their eyes are said to reflect light like an animal's, and they flee from human contact, but are drawn to car headlights and campfires. Drivers on rural roads near Chardon have reported seeing them darting between trees or standing motionless at the forest's edge. Some claim their cars have been surrounded by the creatures, who bang on windows and scratch at metal with long, dirty fingernails before disappearing back into the woods. The woods around Kirtland and Chardon still hold their secrets, and whether born from tragedy, science, or something darker, the melon heads continue to haunt the imagination of anyone brave enough to venture into their domain after dark. Number 3, the Crybaby Bridge. Scattered across Ohio are bridges that share a haunting legend and an even more haunting sound, the cry of a baby echoing through the night air. These crybaby bridges exist in multiple locations, each with its own tragic backstory, but all connected by the same spine-chilling experience. The most common story tells of a young mother who, in desperation or madness, threw her infant from the bridge into the waters below. Some versions say she jumped after the child, unable to live with what she'd done. Others claim she was fleeing an abusive situation or trying to save her baby from a worse fate. At bridges near Dayton, Columbus, and other Ohio towns, people have reported the same phenomenon. Late at night, especially on foggy evenings, the unmistakable sound of an infant's cry drifts up from the water below. Some say if you stop your car on the bridge and listen carefully, You'll hear not just crying, but a mother's voice calling desperately for her lost child. Others have seen ghostly figures on the bridge itself, a woman in a tattered dress clutching something to her chest, only to vanish when approached. Car engines have been known to stall on these bridges, and some drivers claim their vehicles shake violently, as if something is trying to get inside. The legend has spread to multiple bridges across Ohio, each community adding its own details to the tragic tale. But the core remains the same, a mother's eternal grief echoing through the darkness, a baby's cry that will never be comforted. These bridges serve as reminders that some sorrows are too deep to ever find peace. Number 4. Gore Orphanage Ghosts. In the woods near Vermilion, the ruins of what locals call Gore Orphanage hide a story of tragedy and lingering spirits. Though historians debate the exact details, the legend speaks of a devastating fire that claimed the lives of innocent children, trapping their souls forever within these haunted grounds. The building that once stood here may not have been an orphanage in the traditional sense, but the land has seen its share of tragedy. Swift Mansion, built in 1840, burned to the ground, and later, other structures on the property also met fiery ends. Over time, local folklore merged these tragedies into the tale of Gore Orphanage, where children died screaming in the flames. Visitors to the site report hearing the voices of children playing in the empty fields where the building once stood. Their laughter echoes through the trees, but when you follow the sound, you find only overgrown foundations and crumbling stone. Some have seen small figures darting between the trees, always staying just at the edge of vision. On cold nights, witnesses claim to see the glow of fire among the ruins, complete with the smell of smoke and the sound of crackling flames. Others report feeling suddenly overwhelmed with sadness or hearing children's voices calling for help that will never come. The most disturbing encounters involve visitors who feel small hands tugging at their clothes or hear whispered pleas to take us home. Some have found children's toys scattered around the ruins, items that weren't there moments before, and disappeared just as quickly. Today, the Gore Orphanage ruins continue to draw those seeking evidence of the paranormal. The children who may have died here seem to still be waiting, playing their eternal games in a place where innocence was lost forever. Number 5. The Ohio Grassman. In the rural woodlands of Ohio, something massive stalks through the trees. The Ohio Grassman, the state's own version of Bigfoot, has been terrifying witnesses for generations with its incredible size, overwhelming stench, and distinctly aggressive behavior that sets it apart from its more elusive cousins elsewhere. Standing 8 to 10 feet tall and covered in dark, matted hair, the Grassman gets its name from the grass and vegetation it's said to weave into crude shelters. Unlike the shy Sasquatch of the Pacific Northwest, Ohio's creature is known for being territorial and confrontational. Witnesses describe glowing red eyes, massive footprints, and an intelligence that seems almost human. The first documented sightings date back to the 1800s, but encounters picked up dramatically in the 1970s. Near Minerva, multiple families reported a creature terrorizing their properties, throwing rocks at houses, and leaving behind an overpowering smell of rotting vegetation and musk. Children were kept indoors after dark, and some families even moved away. More recent encounters describe the Grassman as curious about human technology. Some witnesses report finding broken trail cameras or camping equipment that's been deliberately destroyed. Others have heard wood-knocking sounds echoing through the forest, a form of communication that researchers believe may be how these creatures signal to each other. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources receives dozens of Grassman reports each year, though officially they remain unexplained. Footprint casts, blurry photographs, and audio recordings continue to fuel the mystery. Whether it's an undiscovered primate, an interdimensional being, or simply the power of suggestion, the Ohio Grassman remains one of the state's most persistent and frightening legends. Number 6. Moonville Tunnel Ghost. Hidden deep in the Appalachian foothills of southeastern Ohio lies an abandoned railroad tunnel that refuses to let go of its tragic past. The Moonville Tunnel, built in 1856, once carried trains through the heart of a small mining community. But when the town died and the rails fell silent, something else took up residence in the darkness. The tunnel earned its haunted reputation through decades of deadly accidents. Miners walking home in the dark were struck by oncoming trains they couldn't hear until it was too late. Railroad workers were crushed in cave-ins or overcome by toxic gases. Each death seemed to add another layer to the tunnel's growing supernatural presence. Today, visitors brave enough to enter the tunnel report seeing a phantom lantern swinging in the darkness, carried by the ghost of a railroad worker still trying to signal oncoming trains. His figure appears solid at first, but dissolves into mist when approached. Some have heard the sound of pickaxes striking stone, or the distant whistle of a train that no longer runs. Others have encountered what they believe to be the spirit of a young woman who died in the tunnel while searching for her missing husband. She appears at the tunnel's entrance, beckoning visitors inside, only to vanish once they follow. Her voice has been heard calling for help, echoing off the stone walls in a sound that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The temperature inside the tunnel drops suddenly without warning, and many visitors report feeling watched by unseen eyes. Photographs taken inside often show strange orbs of light or misty figures that weren't visible to the naked eye. Even during daylight hours, the tunnel maintains an oppressive atmosphere that makes even skeptics uneasy. The Moonville Tunnel stands as a monument to Ohio's industrial past and the lives lost in its creation. But for those who encounter its ghostly residents, it serves as a reminder that some spirits never find their way to the light. Number 7. The Screaming Bridge. In Fairfield County, a bridge carries more than just traffic over its span. It carries the weight of tragedy and the echo of screams that have haunted the area for decades. The Screaming Bridge earned its name from the ghostly cries that pierce the night air. Sounds so disturbing that even hardened skeptics have fled in terror. The bridge's dark reputation stems from multiple tragic accidents over the years. Cars have crashed through the guardrails, plunging their occupants into the rocky creek below. Some accidents were blamed on poor weather or mechanical failure, but others remained mysteriously unexplained, as if something had deliberately caused drivers to lose control. Local residents began noticing strange phenomena long before the bridge gained its infamous nickname. Drivers reported hearing screams coming from below the bridge, sounds so realistic they would stop to search for accident victims, only to find nothing. Others claimed their cars would suddenly accelerate or brake on their own while crossing the span. The most chilling encounters involve witnesses who have seen ghostly figures standing on the bridge or hanging from its sides. These apparitions appear to be the victims of past accidents, forever replaying their final moments. Some are said to reach out toward passing cars as if trying to pull the living into their eternal torment. Late-night visitors often report that their vehicles won't start after stopping on or near the bridge. Others have experienced their radios picking up what sounds like emergency dispatch calls from accidents that happened years ago. The temperature around the bridge drops noticeably after dark, and an oppressive feeling of dread settles over anyone who lingers too long. Despite attempts to dismiss the phenomena as natural wind patterns or overactive imaginations, the Screaming Bridge continues to live up to its name. The sounds that give it its reputation serve as a chilling reminder that some accidents leave scars that time cannot heal. Number 8. The Ridges, Athens Lunatic Asylum. Perched on the hills overlooking Athens, Ohio, stands one of the most haunted places in America. The Ridges, formerly known as the Athens Lunatic Asylum, housed thousands of patients over its 100-year history. Within its imposing brick walls, experimental treatments, tragic deaths, and human suffering left an indelible mark that continues to manifest in disturbing ways. Built in 1874, the asylum was designed to be a place of healing, but it became something far more sinister. Overcrowding led to deplorable conditions, and treatments included ice water baths, electroshock therapy, and lobotomies. Thousands of patients died within its walls, many buried in unmarked graves on the hospital grounds, with only numbered headstones to mark their passing. The most famous ghost story involves Margaret Schilling, a patient who disappeared in 1978. Her body was found weeks later in a locked ward, but not before it had left a permanent stain on the floor in the shape of a human form. Despite numerous attempts to clean or cover it, the stain always returns, as if Margaret's spirit refuses to be erased from the place where she died. Current students and staff at Ohio University, which now owns parts of the building, report a wide range of paranormal activity. Elevator doors open and close on their own, stopping at floors that were once the most violent wards. Voices echo through empty hallways, and shadowy figures are seen peering from windows of abandoned sections. Room 428 in Jefferson Hall, built over the asylum's grounds, is particularly active. Students report objects moving on their own, sudden temperature drops, and the feeling of being watched by invisible eyes. Many rooms in the area remain vacant because students refuse to live there after experiencing unexplained phenomena. The asylum's tuberculosis ward, where hundreds died in isolation, maintains an especially heavy atmosphere. Visitors report difficulty breathing and overwhelming feelings of sadness and despair. Some have heard coughing and wheezing sounds coming from empty rooms, as if the victims of the disease are still fighting for their final breaths. Today, parts of the Ridges serve as museums and university buildings, but the spirits of those who suffered here refuse to rest. It stands as one of Ohio's most documented haunted locations, where the line between the living and the dead grows thin. Number 9, the Butler County Dog Man. In the rural backroads of Butler County, something stalks the darkness on 2 legs. The Butler County Dog Man, a werewolf-like creature that has terrorized motorists and hikers for decades, represents one of Ohio's most frightening cryptid encounters. Unlike typical Bigfoot sightings, this beast displays an intelligence and aggression that suggests something far more dangerous. Standing 7 to 8 feet tall when upright, the creature has the muscular build of a man, but the head and features of a massive wolf or dog. Its eyes glow amber in the darkness, and its howls can be heard for miles across the countryside. Witnesses describe hands with opposable thumbs ending in razor-sharp claws, and a mouth full of teeth designed for tearing flesh. The most documented encounter occurred in the 1970s, when a family driving home late at night reported a creature matching this description jumping onto their moving car. It clawed at the roof and windows before leaping off and disappearing into the woods. Deep scratches in the metal served as proof that something had indeed attacked their vehicle. Local farmers have reported finding livestock killed in ways that don't match typical predator behavior. The animals are often drained of blood with precise wounds, and the killer seems to take only what it needs before disappearing without a trace. Guard dogs refuse to enter certain areas of the county, and some have been found dead with expressions of terror frozen on their faces. The creature seems particularly drawn to automotive traffic, with multiple reports of it pacing cars along dark country roads or standing in the middle of the street as if challenging drivers to pass. Some witnesses claim it can run faster than their vehicles, keeping pace at highway speeds before vanishing into the forest. Unlike other cryptids that avoid human contact, the Butler County Dog Man appears to seek it out. Its territorial behavior and apparent lack of fear suggest something that sees humans not as a threat, but as prey. For residents of Butler County's rural areas, the creature serves as a reminder that they may not be alone in the darkness. Number 10. Walhalla Road Ghost. On the outskirts of Columbus, Walhalla Road winds through wooded areas and over a small creek where tragedy has left its mark in the form of a restless spirit. The ghost of a woman in white has been haunting this stretch of road for decades, appearing to drivers at the most unexpected moments and leaving them shaken by encounters they'll never forget. The legend tells of a young woman who died in a car accident on this road, though the exact details vary depending on who tells the story. Some say she was fleeing an abusive relationship when she lost control of her car and crashed into the creek. Others claim she was searching for her missing child when tragedy struck. What remains consistent is her inability to move on from this place where her life ended. Drivers traveling Walhalla Road late at night report seeing a woman in a flowing white dress standing near the creek or walking along the roadside. She appears solid and real until approached, then dissolves into mist or simply vanishes entirely. Some witnesses have nearly crashed their cars trying to avoid hitting what they believed was a living person. The ghost seems particularly drawn to men traveling alone, often appearing in their headlights or even manifesting inside their vehicles. She's been seen sitting in passenger seats, reflected in rearview mirrors, or standing directly in front of oncoming cars. Her face is described as beautiful, but eternally sad, with dark eyes that seem to plead for something she can never have. More disturbing encounters involve the woman actually making contact with the living. Drivers have reported feeling a cold hand touch their shoulder or hearing a voice whispering directions to locations that no longer exist. Some claim she's tried to grab the steering wheel, as if attempting to prevent them from suffering the same fate she did. The area around the creek where she allegedly died maintains an unnaturally cold temperature even in summer months. Photographs taken there often show unexplained mists or light anomalies, and electronic devices frequently malfunction when brought to the site. Walhalla Road's ghost serves as a tragic reminder of lives cut short and dreams unfulfilled. For those who encounter her, she represents the possibility that some spirits become so attached to the places where they died that they can never truly leave. Number 11. The Circleville Letters Mystery. In the quiet town of Circleville, Ohio, a mystery unfolded that would terrorize residents for over a decade and remain unsolved to this day. The Circleville Letters, a series of anonymous, threatening messages that began appearing in 1976, revealed the darkest secrets of the community and led to paranoia, broken families, and even death. The letters were written in block letters by someone with intimate knowledge of the town's residents and their private affairs. They accused people of having affairs, revealed hidden addictions, and threatened violence against those who didn't conform to the writer's moral standards. The author seemed to know things that should have been impossible for an outsider to discover. The most targeted victims were Ron Gillespie, a bus driver, and Mary Gillespie, his wife, who allegedly was having an affair with the school superintendent. The letters detailed their activities with disturbing accuracy, leading to Ron's obsession with finding the author. His behavior became increasingly erratic as the psychological pressure mounted, ultimately leading to his death from a suspected heart attack brought on by stress. After Ron's death, the letters continued, now focusing on Mary and her family. The threats escalated to actual attempts on their lives, including booby traps rigged to school buses and mysterious packages left at their home. The entire town lived in fear, never knowing who might be watching or what secrets might be revealed next. The case took a bizarre turn when Mary Gillespie herself was arrested for writing some of the letters. However, the handwriting analysis was inconclusive, and many residents believed she was being framed by the real author. Even after her conviction, similar letters continued to appear, suggesting the true perpetrator was still active. Investigations revealed a web of small-town secrets, family feuds, and hidden relationships that provided numerous motives, but no clear suspect. The letters demonstrated knowledge of private conversations, personal habits, and intimate details that suggested the writer was either very close to the victims or had access to sophisticated surveillance methods. To this day, the identity of the Circleville letter writer remains unknown. The case represents one of Ohio's most enduring mysteries, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are human ones, hiding in plain sight within our own communities. Number 12. The Legend of Helltown. In the abandoned ruins of Boston Mills, Ohio, lies a place so steeped in dark legend that locals simply call it Helltown. This former community, evacuated by the government in the 1970s for a national park that was never fully developed, has become the subject of the most sinister folklore in all of Ohio. Where houses once stood, only foundations remain, but the stories that surround this place are far from empty. The official reason for the evacuation was environmental, part of the Cuyahoga Valley National Recreation Area project. But the sudden, forced removal of families from their homes, combined with the eerie abandonment that followed, gave birth to far more disturbing explanations. Some claim the government discovered toxic chemical spills that mutated local wildlife and residents alike. The most persistent legend involves satanic cults that supposedly took over the empty buildings, using them for dark rituals and human sacrifices. Visitors report finding evidence of occult ceremonies, strange symbols carved into trees, and animal remains arranged in unnatural patterns. The isolation of the area makes it perfect for activities that wouldn't be tolerated in populated areas. Crybaby Bridge, located within Helltown's borders, adds another layer to the area's dark reputation. The sounds of an infant crying echo from beneath this bridge, and some claim to have seen ghostly figures of cultists carrying out their unholy work. The combination of multiple legends in one location has made Helltown a magnet for thrill seekers and paranormal investigators. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of Helltown involves reports of a figure known as the Peninsula Python, described as a massive snake-like creature that's allegedly the result of chemical mutations. Others speak of the Helltown slaughterhouse, where screams can still be heard, echoing from the abandoned building that may have been used for more than processing livestock. Government agents are said to patrol the area, turning away visitors and maintaining the secrecy that surrounds Helltown's true nature. Some claim these aren't park rangers, but federal agents protecting classified information about what really happened in Boston Mills. Today, most of the structures have been demolished or reclaimed by nature, but the legends persist. Helltown serves as Ohio's ultimate urban legend, a place where government conspiracy, occult activity, and supernatural horror converge. Whether the stories are true or simply the product of overactive imaginations, one thing remains certain. Boston Mills, Ohio, will forever be known as Helltown, and some places earn that reputation for a reason. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.